Hey, what's going on YouTube? Just going to give a quick tutorial, or my tutorial on lighting my wood stove. It's an Englander NC30 or Englander 30, however you want to pronounce it. They got different names for it or whatever. But this particular stove is a Englander 30. Roughly heats, I think it's 2,400 square feet. My particular house is nowhere near that big. I have a cold-natured wife, so gotta make sure I keep her warm. However, when we get in those cold temps, this stove does what it needs to do, I should say. I try not to run the heat at all through the winter months. I've only had this stove, it'll be a year come January of 2019, next month. Oh yeah, Happy New Year everyone. So I live here in Virginia, so it doesn't get extremely cold, but you know, we have some of those days and nights that get down in the single digits every once in a while, and teens. So I mean, having a wood stove is the heat is just, I mean, I just can't put it in words. It feels great. Dries the air out. That's where you would probably need a humidifier or some sort of moisture in the air to kind of help with that, just in case anyone has asthma or any breathing issues. With further ado, going to show you my stove. I did a video already on just a little quick review of the stove and so forth and so on, and my piping and little things I've done to the stove. But other than that, there's the stove. It's big, it's bulky. EcoFan cuts on at 180, I believe, and it pushes a little bit of air, nothing spectacular, just to get air moving away from the stove. Old pot I had, heat paint, kind of make it blend with everything else. A Rutland thermometer, see your burn zone. Roughly the top plate on this, right on that little ledge, tends to get a lot hotter than everywhere else in the stove, so it's not unlikely for me to run the stove temp, according to that thermometer, in between 620 and 650. Far as is on the sides, you might be looking at about 575 to maybe 600. And then this top plate right here is roughly the same. I'm not sure why that particular spot gets so hot more than anything else across. I guess maybe because that's where the flame, I don't know. I'm not a wood stove expert on this, but this is just my take on it. Homemade heat shield, Durock board. Does very well, I must say. Thinking about actually building it up a little bit higher and maybe putting some tile on it. I got it on stands. Got the inch gap off the wall for the air to flow through the back. Yeah, so here's my wood pile. Just a box I threw together. Some T111 and some 2x4s. So I mean, yeah, and a little moisture meter I got hanging right there. So a little hatchet, every once in a while I'll have some wood in here that, you know, has little pieces that have like kind of split off a little bit but not completely broke, so I'll just go ahead and chop them off and use them as killing. That's what I have right there. So like I said, mainly I burn, what you see in here is there's some red oak, there's some beech, White oak is in there too somewhere. I have some gum and some poplar. As long as your wood is seasoned, you could pretty much burn anything as long as it's seasoned. I must keep reiterating that seasoned wood burns a lot better than wet wood. Besides wet wood, you lose a lot of energy with wet wood if you're trying to burn wet wood, or if you ran out of your seasoned wood and you have no other alternative, then you got to do what you got to do to keep your family warm. However, you're wasting a lot of energy going up your flue. It's a lot of steam that comes off of the wet wood. Not all my wood is completely seasoned, but I would have to say the majority is.